In example 15, right, we look at this expansion of x squared minus 2 over x to the power 6. And so once again, the power is 6, a positive integer. So that's your O-level type question, right, where your expansion is finite. Right, so in this question, we have to find 3 parts. So the first is to work out the fourth term. And then secondly, we find the coefficient of x to the power 6. And lastly, the term independent of x. So I want you guys to recall, right, at O level, you should have learned this general term, right, for a plus b to the power of n. Of course, when the n is a positive integer, usually we denote it as t subscript r plus 1. And this is a general term formula, right? N choose r, a to the power of r, b to the power of n minus r. Right, now some of you maybe have learned this nr, right? You maybe write it as n choose r, right? But it's the same thing, all right? Okay, so how do we find part 1 first, right? The fourth term. Okay, so we use the idea of general term, right? So if you look at your x squared minus 2 over x power 6, right? So your n, right? Your n is equal to 6, and this is your a, and this is your b, right? Together with the negative sign. Yeah, so by applying the formula, right, you will get this. And then you separate the negative 2 from the x, right? So this x, okay, actually gives you x to the power of negative 6 plus r, right? And this will give you x to the power of 2r. So combining the 2x together, you get this x to the power of 2r minus 6 plus r, right? And you simplify, all right, further, you get this expression. So that's the general term formula, okay, for this expression, this expansion. So the fourth term, right, is simply just when the r is 3. Yeah, so be careful, the r is not 4, the r is 3. Right, so when the r is 3, this will be T4. Right, so you simply just sub your I as 3 into your general term formula. Right, so this one here. Then you will get the fourth term as negative 160 x to the power of 3. Alright, for part 2, finding the coefficient of x to the power of 6. Okay, so we still use the general term formula, right? So we now focus just at the power because you want this to be 6, right? So that's why we solve for 3r minus 6 equals to 6, and that gives r equals to 4. Right? So when you know the r, right, you know the term. So just put r equals to 4 into the r here and the r here and the r here. So this is the coefficient of x to the power of 6. Since the r is 4, right, so actually it is the fifth term, right? So the fifth term has x to the power of 6. That's the position, it's the fifth term. And the last part, to find the term independent of x, right? Now, term independent of x will be the term where the power is 0. So it is the constant term, right? So we still use the general term formula, but now we need this power to be 0, right? So then the r is equals to 2, and you substitute 2 into the general term formula, right? The power will become 0. That's the term we are finding. But we need the coefficient here. So that gives you the constant term, all right? So just put 2 into the r and the r here. So the constant term is 240.